Okay. Okay. So yesterday we discussed about the where is this resources? Yeah, sorry, coding. Okay. Yesterday we discussed about that map and how we get the value, how we declare a map, how we get the value from a map, how we put the value into the map, how we get the value from the map, what is the map key sets and what is the map values. We all these things we discuss about that, and at the end we check that if anything we need to check into the map, then how we are going to do that. And now we will do some more functions over the map. So for that I'm just copying the map, some pieces of map, because I still need it to for here. So okay, this is our yesterday map, and nothing. It just I just means it means that we just created map. Now we know that we can check the context. Some small things are remaining. Suppose we want to remove some element from a map. Okay, if you want to remove an element from a map, then the removal of element is also text from its on the basis of its key. Means in order to remove, we what we have to do that. Suppose we need to remove this fourth index, or let me remove the third index. So what I will do that I will dot remove and then key. Okay, and then again let me print it, the remaining map. Oh, it's copy pasted over from there to here and its format got changed. Let me change the format. Okay, as you see that the third element get removed. So that's the thing. Means if we need to remove anything from a map, what we will do that we will just we use the remove keyword. It will got remove on the remove, and then use the key value, whatever the key value related to the map, it will be removed. Means that map name, and then here's the key. So on the basis of key, we can remove an element from a map. Means we can remove, just like we remove the third element from a map on the basis of key, we can easily remove that element from a map. Okay, so that is so that's the thing. Similarly, if we have to remove something from a list, We can also use the remove keyword, means we just have to remove then what would be the element index of the list. We can also do that on the basis of means how we can remove element from a list. For that, let me show you. Since we all know that the values of a map, it's behave like a list. So let me create a list of string, and it's our books. And I will declare as soon as I initialize. Okay, so it sticks. And now, since if I remove an element from a list, we can also do in a way that and it works as an indexing. So I will remove the element. First element means second element. It's because indexing start from 0. That's why. So let's execute it. Okay. So what did we do? First, we declare a map, then we remove the third element from the map, and then we take the values of that map and remove the second element from the map, sorry, from the list. Yeah, so it's just a quite way that how we can remove an element from a map or from a list. It can easily be done, and we just have to focus on the index and the key value, and just to remove keyword will help us to remove an element from a map. Apart from that, we have, if you look at the map class in this map class of the Salesforce, that you have to visit usually. So apart from that, if you look at the map class, there are so many more methods you can utilize. Just if you need to, suppose we need to compare a map, suppose we need to do, suppose we need to clone a map, we need to check contents and key set. We already discussed about the key set. And suppose we need to put all put all is used to when we have to get all the values, means all the values from a second map to merge in a one map, then we have to use put all. And then we have a remove, we have a size, all those things. Means it's you can review that all the method again and one by one. If you have any such if you have any operation that need to perform over the map, you can review come up and review up here. No issue in that. Okay, so that is the pretty much about that how we declare a map, how we use a map in our in our coding. Now we are going to this is the basic thing that we know before moving into the Salesforce Apex coding. So this is means these are all the basic that we have learned from the that we learned yesterday and day before yesterday, that what how we declare that variables, what are the operations we can perform the variables, and what are the data types. And then we move into this how we use the list, set, and map inside. How will you use the list, set, and map, and what are the functions are available over for the list, set, and map. You can also review that if you want to review this list class. Sorry. Okay, if you review the list class, you can see the list have also so many methods available that you can use, and that you can use. Yeah, you can test methods and the hash code, and means there are so many, and you can just use it, no issue. If we can You can, yeah, there is one more method. If you want to change any value of a list, we can use the set index. Set will help us to change the value from a list. Okay, if you want to change some value, you just have to set and index, and then with a new value, just like here. If I want to add or I want to change a value on the basis of index, so what I will do, I will just come up here and dot set. As we can see that in the, we have only two elements in the list, so I'm going to change that second one comma from first index. It will change it to mm, Robert, and yeah, you can say that Dan Brown is changed into the Robert. So on the basis of index, we can also change the element. If we have a such kind of requirement, then we can use. So whenever you have to find the whenever you are working on the with the list set and map, usually whenever you have working, just come and visit what are the methods are available inside that inside for that Salesforce for using a list set and map, because there are so many methods that are inbuilt before working before start working with the list set and map. Or whenever you got any requirement, just come up here. Might be you will get any method that will help us to just use directly from here and without any issue. Yeah, it's without any issue, you will just come up and get the values and use the methods directly. Similarly, we have a set class also. Means all of the function that means set, list, integer, what are with that data types and collective data types are available in the, all of them have a class in the Salesforce, and that class have some predefined methods, and always you try to use that predefined methods before you start working on that. Means whenever you are doing anything in the Salesforce, either in any of that means any of the data types or any of the collective data types, all of, if any of them you are working on it, and if you have some, if you remember any methods, that's okay. If you not remember, just first come up here and find a method that will help us to do your job easily and without any hindrance or issues. You can just come up and see what are the methods are available, how we check the values, how we remove the values, what are the other, because there are so many also methods are available. I just discuss about that only the common methods that are comes in a general way. Means you just whenever you are start working on the list set and map, you will find those methods are in always income. But some of the methods are in the special cases that we are using, that whenever we need to compare the two sets value, or we need to check it's either it's empty or no, or we need to remove an element, just like I discussed an element, or we need to remove all of the element from the set. These kinds of methods uh, we can use in our set and list and map. Now these are the means from what we have learned that from last 2 days, that is required to go into the Apex. Means that are the few basic info that you need to know before moving to the Apex, because so let's move into the Apex. And for the Apex, we first need to know that we first need to know that what is the class. Means we are going to start working with the class. Means we are going to start working with the class. So so can anyone tell me that in the Java or someone in some language, what is the class? Means class, you have learned that thing. What is class? Anyone?
I can say
Yeah.
class is actually collection of methods and properties. Can also be
Yeah.
called as a template. In terms of development, we can say it's a module in MVC that you retrieve your data with the controller and show it in the view.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is like
Correct.
blueprint of an object.
Hmm. Blueprint of an object. Yep. Okay, you both guys are correct. Yeah, classes is just like a collection of a method that we declare, it's a collection of a method that we declare and use, and for our whatever with the view we are designing or anything for. I mean, it's basically used to get the interaction with the Salesforce database and perform any complex operations, and then give the whatever with the output from that database or anything for operation from operation to our view model. Means whatever with the view means either be on VF page or Apex, sorry, VF page or Lightning. That is will be about means whenever we have to make a interaction between the database and our UI. So we need to use Apex, and in that Apex we need to declare a class that will act as a controller. So for declaring a class inside a Salesforce, we can use a method, something like that. We just come up here, and here we write new, and you can see there is so many things. First we discuss about the classes, how we declare the class, then we move to other things. So let's first we declare the class. So let's click on the, when we click on the class, it will ask the name of the write the name of the class. So let me write my class. Okay, whenever you hit the Firefly card, it start creating, and it will create a public class and its name and all those things come up here. Okay, it's a similar, it's a quite similar, means it's the same as the by how we are declaring at any in any language. The classes are declared in the same way. We write x means this is our access of the class, means it will be a private, public, and global, and then class, and then class name. This is, you all are familiar with that, how we are declaring a class and what is the class. Okay, and the class is has a class have several methods on which we are working on it. So before means, and in that methods means we have a main method is that we are just generally use. It's a constructor of the class. Okay, constructor of the class, which is the main method. Whenever the class is declared, the constructor will get automatically called. So we declare the constructor of the class just like the same way, public, and the class name, and then we just curly braces, and that this one. So it will act as a constructor of a class, means without we just have a access modifier, and then class name, and brackets, and then curly bracket, and whatever we are written over up here, it will automatically call when we call a class. Suppose, let me put a debug over here. Okay, now this is the way how we declare a class and how we declare a constructor of a class. Now the main question that how we call a class, then how we call or how we execute a class inside a Salesforce. So for a class, and I just put control yes to save, or just come up here and click save also. Both we can do for saving a class. Okay, the next question is comes arise that how we make any how we call a class inside the Salesforce. So if you are working with the any of that Visual Force or Aura and LWC, that that's calling is quite different. Means we just have to bind. Means we have to just bind the class to that whatever the view we are using. But right now we don't have any view. So how we call the class? We just follow that basic basic Java method that we declare an object of a class. Yeah, we declare an object of a class and then call the methods related to the class. So how we call the class inside the right now we just how we calling, we are just declaring a object of a class, and then we call the methods and anything of related to that class. So let's go for that. We also use the execute anonymous. So let me first where this is the remove keyword, and then resources. Let me put So for declaring an object of a class, what we need to do, we just have to type the class name. Means we have a class name, and then object name equal to new, and then again class name. Simple. It's a simpler, just like as it's the same as we are declaring a list, as we're declaring a map, as we're declaring a set. They are the same. In a simple way, we are in this way we are also declaring the maps and list and sets. The same way we are also declaring a class and its object. So my first class, and let's my class object equal to new. So okay, so whenever we declare any class object, so there comes a property that the constructor of that class will automatically get called without any means. Whenever we just declare a class, its constructor will automatically get called. So let's execute it. So if it's a constructor will get called, so it means that the system.debug, what we have written over here, it get printed, means I am a constructor. It will be printed on our console or on our log screen. So let's execute it. I have executed that. Now what? Let's see what happens. Yeah, I'm a constructor, automatically get printed. So whatever be that whatever be the constructor we defining, it's got automatically get called. And if anything we define, suppose I define my map and all anything that we have designed, we just call up here, just like if suppose I define my map from here. Where is that? Okay, we define the map, and then we hit Control S for save. When we are saving, it says saving, and then it will get saved. Oh, it's showing me problem. Oh, sorry. Whenever you copy it from here, it's causing issue. Let me first replace the convert the text. Here. Then here. Now copy it. Now I hit Control S for saving the class. Yeah, I saved it. So in this way, means we and whatever with that, we just like put and execute. So you can see that my constructor will automatically get called, and whatever be the code I just written over there, it automatically get called. And what are the functions? Just like I just override that whatever with the override the map of map element. So it's happening up here. No issue in that. So it's a property of a constructor that how it automatically get called from a while declaring a whenever we're declaring a constructor, means while declaring a class, so it's a property of a constructor that it will get automatically called. And where is that? Suppose suppose we need to and if we don't need to call that if you need to call not at the moment when we declare the constructor, means at the moment we initialize the object of a class, we if you want to if you want to don't want to call any method, means suppose we just declare for that, means suppose we don't want to call that constructor in sorry, it cannot be possible to don't call the constructor, but suppose you want to call any method. You all are familiar with the methods, means methods are the small functions or methods we declare in a class that will use and that will specify the code, means or we can say that we can use, means we can declare a method that can be reusable at any place whenever we want to use that method. So in order to reuse the code, we declare the methods inside the class. Or if you have a such a if our code is getting longer and longer, then also we are just try to define a method inside a class. So it's also a thing that whenever we have a working in with the Salesforce or in any language or in Apex or in Java and PHP, we are declaring methods, or somewhere it's called method, somewhere it's called function. It's no issue, it's the name thing, but the concept is always same, that function, or we can say that we are declaring a functions that can be a return type, non-return type. You know that the functions are the two types, that can be return type and non-return type. So so right now I'm going to declare a function, yeah, something like this way. For declaring a function, declaring function, or we can say that method in Apex. Let's not here.
Suraj, sorry, you changed the fifth sequence, but how did you call this? I think I missed that part. How do you call this create object from this class? Did you show that part?
Yeah, I'm calling from its execute anonymous window.
I tried something, it doesn't.
I call it from here, open execute anonymous window, and here I just write the class name, class object, and you can see this screen now.
Okay. You don't need to do any important thing. So whenever we execute it, should automatically. Okay.
Yeah, we don't need to write it. Whenever the class object is declared, it constructor will automatically get called. Okay, and then yeah, now
Mr. Wahdet, do you remember new keyword is invoking the constructor
Yeah,
from
Uh-huh.
2 years ago?
I thought
I'm not
Okay. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Suraj, is
Yeah.
there any way to run the class without debug mode?
Is no, then after that we need to declare some other things, just like
Main class, main method?
yeah.
Okay.
And there is no another way without, means other we need to use the VF pages, or that will help us to run the class. But apart from the debug method, we don't have any other method that will help us to run the class.
Okay, thank you.
So declaring a function, we have a first we write function. Sorry, first we write access modifier. Access modifier. Then Then we have a return type. And then we have a method name, method name, or we can say that function name. Then we have brackets and then this brackets. So first we have access modifier that can be public. Yeah, not here. Let me. You all know that the access modifiers are the public. Access modifiers are public, private, and global. And you know that public means publicly available, private means that are only available inside this class, and then global means which is available, which can be called from anywhere, from apart from that, but it can be called from here. Global means here, actually the global means that we are previously, or some days ago, we discussed about the packages, managed packages and unmanaged packages. Okay, means if you remember that we had discussed about the packages, managed packages and unmanaged packages. So if we declare any class as a global class, so that class can be called outside that packages too. So it's something like that.
It can be called from different workspace. Yes.
Yeah. So that's why. So so if we declare any class, then we, as a global, then we can access that class methods from outside that packages. So that's at that point we can use the global method. But apart from that, we can still we just have to need to use that public and private. Public method that is available, and anyone can call it. So public and private method, it's just scope. You don't know that scope. Whenever scope, it depend on scope. So if we declare any method as a private, so its scope will reside inside that class. Outside that class, we can't access that. Outside that class, we can't access that method. So let's declare a method. For declaring a method, I will use public return type.
Unmanaged packages, like does it mean like if you declare with global your libraries to open everyone, but if it's public and private, anyone out of your org or cannot reach libraries, kind of?
No, little bit. If we declare as a private, it cannot be accessed by any other class. Suppose I creating a class, this class one. Suppose I just go and create a new class for my second class. Yeah. Okay. Just like
private, but difference between public and global.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing I'm talking about. That suppose I declare another class called my second class, and that can access the public class of, means since my first class is public, so it will access the methods of a public class, and it will also accept the method of a global class. But if we're talking about the packages, means suppose in a Salesforce org I install two packages, or I install a package, and that package have only public methods, then we can't access that class variables. It must have to be declared as a global class, so that we can access that class outside that package.
Okay.
So it's up to package level. Means global is declared up to package level. At the package level, at the package level, if we have to access the class, then we have to use a global thing. Else there is no need, because public classes can be called inside the means other classes easily can call the public classes.
I saw this yesterday in one YouTube video as an interview question. What is the difference between public and global? So it was saying public is in the same workspace, but global can be accessible from different workspace, meaning different packages over the package. Yeah.
Whenever companies created these applications, are they mostly using global or public?
Public. public or private, they don't very at you if you are creating 100 classes, then 2 or 3 classes have global
Mhm.
they're less, because only when they need to someone access that their methods, or someone access their values, so at that time they will declare the classes as a global, but usually they don't declare the classes as a global classes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, first we have a access modifier, then we have a return type. Return type means return type are of two types, means either it will return anything, it will not return anything. If it is not returning anything, then we declare void. If it's returning anything, then we declare the data type name. Suppose right now I'm just not returning anything, so I will root void, and then our method name. So method, and then I will put curly braces, and then so let's put okay. So in this way we declare why it's causing the 21. No. Okay, in this way we declare a method. Okay, in this way we declare a method inside a class, and why it's access modifier. So okay, so let's check how we call a method. Before that I need to save it, so Control S, it's saving, and save. Now I'm going to the debug log, and then when if I need to call this method, then what I need to do, that I just need to just use this class object dot method name. Okay. So what this code will do, it will first execute the constructor of the class. Yeah, it will first execute, because it's a property that whenever we declare a class, it will first thing is that it will execute its uh, it will get execute its constructor, and after that, since we are calling its first method, means so its method, so it will first execute the constructor, then it will be execute the method. Yeah, you can see first the constructor got executed, and all the things that are present in the constructor got executed, and thereafter it will execute the method. So in this way we execute a method, uh, in this way we execute a method, and which does not return anything. It's a normal method. Suppose I declare a method which is returning anything, so I will do, instead of void I will write data type. As I show that it's a data type, any data type, means you learn about the data type, uh, primitive, or collective. Or we can also return class, whole class. Okay, so primitive and collective or class. So let's first work on the primitive. Primitive, you know that string, double, boolean, and collective, you know that map, set, and list, and class we are discussing. So let's work on first. Let's have a look on primitive. So suppose I'm returning an integer. Okay. So okay, and and one more thing, to in a class, two similar method two method cannot have the same name. Okay, so we need to change the name. Okay, second name. Okay, two methods cannot have the same name, or instead of same name we can say that same configuration. Same configuration, we talk about that. Let me first this see this, then we talk about the same config. What is meant by configuration? in the method. So first we can't declare two methods with the same name, or we can say that same configuration. That's why I can't say the second name. Second method will also be my first name, so my first method. So I just rename it to my second method, and let me also put a debug over here. And since we are make this method as a return type, so it must that this method must contain a return statement. And return statement here, we must have to return an integer value. So integer value, for returning an integer value, let's declare an integer. Okay, you can initialize, means suppose I initialize with the 10, and I will return this integer value. Okay, I will return the integer value and hit the save. Now we can call this. Calling is still same, means class object dot my second. And since it is returning anything, means it's returning value, so it means it's an optional thing. We can store that what are we returning from here. Suppose I just declare an integer and returning value equal to whatever it will be returned. It will come up here, and let's put a debug. Okay. Now I'm going to execute it. Now it's got executed. So okay, first we declare a constructor, so constructor is running. Then we declare calling my first method, so first method is running. Then we call this call the our second method, so it's calling the second method, and that's what will be the output of that second method. It got stored into this returning value. So it's called and returning value. Since it's returning 10 here, I store the integer value to 10, and then I return that thing. So it's store the value 10, and then I put a debug. So whatever be the returning value, it's get available up here. So what is the point here is that suppose we need to get a value from a constructor and pass that value somewhere else, or just we need to uh, make a method as a return type, and that method and perform some operation afterwards. Means we get the method value from a method and then perform some operation. Then at that time we use the return, and it is the most usable throughout the class, because usually we declare a method that will return anything. Means as I told you that methods, we declare a methods inside the class that will help. Means suppose we are declaring what I'm saying, suppose we are working in on a class in some logic, and that logic, it's going to be bigger and bigger and bigger. So what we will do that, instead of make that bigger means make a bigger logic in a one method, we just separate out method into a multiple. Means we just break down that logic into small parts. That is the approach you have to always follow, that whenever you are working in that any of the logic, you have to just break that logic in as much, means in small parts, and each part has to be converted into a method, and that method will return something. Okay, suppose we can say that suppose we have a requirement that uh, suppose we have a requirement to print uh, whenever a date inputted by us date input by a user, it will print out its it's whatever the weekday, yeah, weekday related to that user. So what I will do that, I will create a method that will accept input date, and whatever be the operation that he has to be performed, it will perform and return a string. That string will contains the week of that day, and we will create a method, and whenever where at any place that we need to use that at any place that is a requirement that whenever user input date, you have to get the its weekday. So we just call that method at any place at any method. So what, so it's help us to suppose that it help us to think it help us to first two things. First, we don't have to write a same code again and again, and second thing is that our code looks clean, that our code is converted into a method, and that method is doing its own job, and what will be the job performed by the that method, it will return its value, and we can use that value at somewhere else. Suppose that in the same way we can in this way, suppose here we are performing so many operations on that, or let's do that the same example that we have discussed, that I'm declaring a method that will return a weekday of whenever a date inputted in that method. So let's public string get week day. Okay. Sorry, before going to that example, we have to first know that configuration, what the configuration means. Since this method is not a this method is just, we are calling that method, and it has own variables, it has own scope of a variables, and it's performing the operation and return that variable. It's okay, no issue. That suppose we have a requirement that we need to pass some values to that method, we need to pass a value from a method, we need to pass some values into the method, and then on the basis of that value it will perform some operation. So that that passing a value into the method, it's called uh, parameterized method. Yeah, that method is called parameterized method, and that at the same moment it's called its configuration. Okay, so whenever we are declaring a method with a parameters, we can parameterize method, and that will only use whenever we need to pass some values to the we need to pass values, some values to that method and perform some activities. At that time we use the parameterized method. So what we am going to do that, I'm going to declare a method that will remove an element remove an element from any place. Either it will be array, or it will be a list, or it will be a set, anything. So what I will going to do that, I will create a public, and let's after removal let's first it will remove from a map. So the data let's first it's removed from a let's say it's removing it from a list. So I will declare, and after the removal it return that list, means the output of that list, it will got returned. So for that I will declare a list of string, means we will pass the book name and remove the second element from that book name. So for that I will just since it is also returning a list, so the our data type will become a list of a string, and get, yeah, remove element. Okay, and then I will get a value, and get a value that suppose I will integer, and I will write index, and then I will use the same where is, or just let me copy from here, resources, where is my list food name. Okay, let's work on the food name. Okay, there is a list. And then I will remove an index. So okay, I will remove an index. So I created a method and its return type. Let's make it void. No issue in that void also. Okay, now I'm calling this method as a parameterized. So what will be the index number I will pass? It will remove that index from this list. So how I'm going to use that? I will just come up here and declare my object and remove element, and then I will just pass the index. Suppose I pass the second index, so it will chili peri got removed. Suppose I got let first remove one.
Index 2 is not Maggie.
No, index 2 is not Maggie. It is starting from 0.
So it's Maggie. Because
sorry.
Maggie is third one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
0 1.
When
Yeah, you are correct. Yeah, you are correct. It's 2 means Maggie. So it will it removes the index 2. Now remove. Suppose what now I have one more, means I repeated that method once again. I write the 3 and then I write the 4. So in the same way, means I can call, I did not have to repeat the code. I just calling that method one by one, and whenever I execute it, it got removed from that element, get removed from that particular. But there is one more thing. So first I will write the 2, so Maggie get removed. Second time I write the 3, so Chowmin get removed. Again I write the 4, then one of the pizza get removed. But the thing is that the original list will always the same. Yeah, right. The original list value always the same. Why it's always the same? Because this list always get declared and it always got a new value. That's why it remains the same. So what I'm going to do, that instead of declaring it here, I will change its position to somewhere else. So I will write up here public, and then I will create a list instead of there. I will create a list get food name. In that I will put all my code up here and then return the food name list. So what I'm doing up here, I creating a list of food names and returning that food name through a method. It means this method, what it will do, it will just return a list of a food name. Okay, and then in this parameterized constructor, I will pass the list. Okay, I will pass the list, and that element will get and pass the list name and index name. So it elements automatically get removed. Okay, so that's the issue. Now I'm sorry. That's in this way I'm going to work. So okay, and now for processing it, let remove this first, and let store, since I will first let store this value first. Get food name, and it cannot be directly called, so I will call it from constructor. So a solid call it from object. So from this object I'm calling this method. So whatever its method will perform, it will initialize a list and return that list, and that returned list will come up here. Okay, okay, so that return list will come up here. After come up here, let's debug that thing. After coming up here, that we debugging the food name list. Let's run it that let's run only this thing. So let's see what going to happen. I just hit the execute, and what will be that output of that thing? It will come up here. Okay, you can see that my returning value is showing that my list. Now I'm going to call my method. Other tabs, let's close. Okay, now I'm going to call this method remove element method. Okay, I will go to second element, so I will remove it from the second element. Okay, and then I will also remove the third element. Okay, execute highlighted. Sorry, execute. Okay, second element, and then what's the others? It first remove the Maggie, then it should remove the third element, and which is from here 0 1 2
One of the
3.
pizza.
Yeah, pizza. So in the same list, means while declaring is up from that, it's the same list which which get removed, whose element get removed. So in this way, we just using the same list, it can be passed, same instance of the list is passed from this method to this method, and then whatever the index we are passing, that it got reflected in that list too. But in the previous example, that what we have look at, that whatever the list is in that, it will that values already get initialized and it's not reflecting. But here I'm just showing that I just call the two methods, and I just make that method that will, when what will be the index we are passing, it got removed from that it got removed from the list. Means whatever the index we are passing it to the method, what will be the index name we are passing, it's get removed from the list. And in this way we can create it's just an example that how we create a function inside a how we create a function inside a Apex, and how we just pass the parameters into that our function, our function, that as you can see that we can pass the pass the parameter into the function, and remove the element from what will be the list we are passing. So it's just like a generic value, means it's not working for that this list too. If we create any other list, it will also work for the same thing. Suppose I create a list and
Suresh, can we also create public variables inside of class?
yeah, we can create public variables.
Like that list could be also, instead of adding, we can create, initialize it with all the values, and maybe it will do the similar thing, right?
Yeah, we can create a public variables over there. What's I forget the name. Skills. Instead of doing it, let me do somewhere here. IT. HR. Sorry, it should be a department list. Okay, department list. And if I call this method, so HR will get removed, and then let's execute it. Okay, you can see that HR get removed. So in this way, this method is something kind of like generic method. You can use for any of the place. We can use that method. We just pass the list and list name and index name. It will get that element will get removed from the list, whatever be the list we are passing. Okay, let's have a break for 10 minutes. After that, we will discuss more about that, how we declare the methods and what are the use of the parameters and something like that. Okay. Okay, then talk to you later. Give me 10 minutes.
Okay, so we will return 10:35.
10:25. Yeah.
Not 9:35. 9:45.
Yeah, 9:30.
9:45.
Yeah, 9:45. Yeah.
1 minute more.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Okay, let's start. What's the temperature over there? Actually, it's here is too much cold.
Yeah,
5 Celsius degrees.
Where?
5 Celsius degrees.
Wow.
bye.
Not so
Here,
much.
I think. Here, I think it's the 12, but still, I'm feeling too much cold.
Right.
It's morning maybe.
It's
Came out of the
morning.
bed.
Huh?
You came out of the bed.
Yeah.
Your Celsius.
Okay. Okay,
You
just
got
like yeah.
Raj, are you in the office or?
No, I'm at home. Yeah, I'm at home.
At morning time we are at our home.
with tea or without tea, you are.
No, right now without tea.
Something warm.
No, I will try to. I'm planning to. Actually, my birthday is coming, so I'm thinking that someone will gift me coffee maker.
You said birthday?
Yeah, it's 20th Jan. It's my birthday.
Wow. Okay, we will celebrate from here.
Don't worry, you will get your gift.
We should get.
Okay, just okay. Now back to work. So we declared that, as I told that we two methods cannot have the same configuration, and in terms of configuration we have a parameters. I just told you that. So I can't declare a method something like that. And suppose I just copy and paste it, it will not let me save. It throws an error because same configuration cannot be possible. It's showing me that method is already defined. Okay, so what I'm going to do, instead of doing that, what I'm just doing, instead of doing that, I will use set. So now its configuration was changed. Okay, the configuration is changed. Sorry, and it's a string type. So instead of doing that, I need to declare something that is common. Okay, let's do a map instead of map. Map, I think it's worth. Where is my map? Map by code. Okay, map by code will work. Sorry, and food name, and also need to debug up here. Yeah, let's remove it. It's head. Okay, so it's saving. Now it's saved. So what I do, that I use the same name of element, same name, and just change its parameters. Change its parameter means change its configuration of a parameter, or we can say that I will just change the parameter on the basis of means name remains same, but the parameters are different, so it let me to save. So that's why I'm just making that name can be same, but if the configuration are different, so it will allow us to same. Suppose the same method will also work for that set also, and suppose I need to work on the set. So instead of that, I need to.
Maybe we can do the second one instead of index key, so it doesn't look confusing.
Okay. Okay, let's make it key. And it's set. It's not an index. It's a value. Actually, it's remove the element by value, not on the basis of index. Means if it match the value and remove the value, so it's do something like that.
Or in set we don't have index.
Set we don't have an means set we don't have an index. It's removing the element by its value, or we are accessing the elements by its value, not by index.
Right.
So that's the as you can see that same method will same method name available for each at the places, means whatever the value it get removed. So let's go to the anonymous vendor. We check for that. Let's check for that where is my map? So in the map we have a constructor. In the constructor I'm calling that thing. So let's remove an element from that map. If we are calling any method, that's also important. If we are calling any method inside the class, then we don't need to put the class name. We just directly call the method, and after the calling the method, we just have to what we need to do that. We just have to put the values names just and that index. Suppose I need to remove third, so it got removed. Third index, I am just removing the third index. Okay, so and we have also an example of a set, and a set, I don't know, since it is calling from a here, let's call the set 50. Okay, we declare a set, and now suppose I need to remove an element, any element from a set. I will call my method remove element. Remove element, then I will pass the set name and index. Suppose I need to remove technical, so I will pass the second. Method does not exist, void element at line number 58.
Index or key should I put?
Oh, sorry. We need to pass the
Parameter.
value. No, we need to pass the value. Actually, set remove bytes value, not a byte index.
Yeah, I mean like parameter as a parameter.
As a parameter. Yeah, and we need to pass the technical as a parameter. So okay, so what's the thing that first the constructor will call and it will remove the third element. Since the constructor is the first calling, it will remove that third key from this map. Then our this list department list method will call and it will remove that HR from that department. And then we also have and I will call this method skill set. What it will do, it will declare a skill set and remove a technical value from that skill set. So one method can be used at several places. Means one configuration of a method means remove element. It's just like it's a common it's become a common method, and on the basis of parameter it's doing the same thing, and so it will not make the users to confuse whatever they're passing. If they're passing the list, or if they're passing the map, or if they're passing the set, all will be performed. And let's have a look. I hit the execute and it's generated. Yeah, first it's remove an element from this third element. DaVinci Code gets removed. Second, I removed from the list, I removed the HR, and third, I removed the technical from that set. So same method is working from the several places, and it's and as you can see that the method can also be called from a constructor, and that method can also be called from a inside a function, and it is also called from a it's also called outside a function. It's a outside we can say that outside the class. Sorry, it's outside the class. Why it's calling why we call it from outside the class? Because it's declared as a public. Here we declare as a public. If we make any of the method is private, then it cannot be called from a outside the class. Just like that, suppose I make this this method is a private. So where is that? Where I'm accessing the list and then storing the list value. Here, let's scratch that thing. And we are accessing get food name from here. Get a food name from here. Suppose I make that it's private and save it. So its scope will change and it cannot be called from outside the class. So let's execute. So it's showing me error that method is not visible because because it is a private. So I can't call this method from that outside the class because I make it private. So that is the access modifier. If I make it private, then it cannot be accessed outside the class, but itself it can be accessed inside the class. Suppose I will just pass this value. Where should I pass this value? Suppose I create a new method. Let's put it here. Suppose I will call my here remove technical, and I will call this method e here. because its return type is a list. Okay, its return type is a list. So, and my method, one of the remove method is accepting a list as a parameter and index which element I need to remove. Suppose I need to remove Maggie, so I will write 2. Okay, so what it will do, it will remove the Maggie from this list, and let's check. And let's first let me save. Execute. Yeah, you can see the Maggie got removed from the list. Whatever the list we are here, it got removed. So what I have to do that, I just, since it is a private method, so it's not called from the outside, but it's an example that how the private method can be called, because it's not called from the outside the Self-host, or sorry, outside the class, but we can call it inside the class. So I just, what I make that, since this my remove element, it's already a function that accept a parameter of a list. So, and it takes, and this method returns as a list, so we can directly pass as a list, directly pass that method and then index. So it's a kind of that you can see that this one line of a code have this functionality and this functionality. This one line of code have that both functionality at the same position, and that looks means that's make that function quite we can say that quite readable. Means you can we can say that means this function, what it will do, it will just, what it will do, it just create a list and return that list. And what's the job of this function? It will the job is to, of this function is to just accept that list and remove that index, whatever the accept the list name and index, and that's remove that value. So whenever means you're working in the Apex class, you have to just, whatever with your task, you have to just divide that task into subtask, and each subtask is a function that either can be a return, a non-return type, or can be a return type, and use that function, all that function in at one position, and it's make that thing that one position, and it makes that which makes that your code clean and quite understandable, so user can easily understand. Okay, so in this way we have seen that we are just in this class we have learned, we discussed that how we declare a constructor, how we declare a method, how we declare a returning method, means how a method is returning, how we declare a parameterized method, and how we declare a same name of a method, with different parameters. Okay, with different parameters, and then how we access a method inside a method, means how we access a different method inside a class, and how we call a method inside a method. Means here we calling a method, and that method calling some different method. So this thing, so these are the basic things that you should know that about the methods, how we calling, how we declaring, how the return type method is works, how we call a method inside the method, how we declare, how we create a method, 3 different method, just on the basis of a just parameter change, and we can declare the same method name, just like we can declare the same method name, and on the basis of parameter we can define different operations that it will be performed. And if any, on the basis of operation it has to perform something else, in the basis of operation it has to perform something else. So sorry, on the basis of parameters, on the basis of parameter it has to perform something else, on the basis of parameter it has to perform something else. Means these 3 method on the basis of parameters is it's doing its own job. Its basic job is to remove an element, but in remove an element from array, from a list, or from a set. But here we can pass that same in a same, means we can just, because removing an element from a list, it's work on the index. Removing element from a map, it's work on the key, and removing an element from a set, it's works by its value. So these 3 things are yeah, we know that remove function is common for them, but the on the basis of which we are removing the things are different. So that's why we have a three different things, and what will be the what will be that three different things. We just pass that three different things and remove that any element from that set, map, or list. And also, since we make that name our theme, so it looks like that our code is quite much clear, that it's more understandable, that if remove element is there is a means, it lets the someone who reads your code, it lets this lets that it's self-explanatory, that remove the element. What it will do is just remove an element. We need to pass either a set or a list or a map, and then pass that either index or a key or a value. It will do its job. So what we have what the whole point we are making right now, the thing is that whenever you have a situation or whenever you are designing a logic, try to design your logic in such a way that smaller parts, just make your whatever be the logic, just make it the smaller logic, and for each logic just design a method, and that method call in a main logic. So always do this approach. Means whenever you are working in any of the code, in any of the person, for either be a small logic or be a large logic, it doesn't matter. Whenever you are working with the logic, just try to break down your logic into smaller pieces, or try to break down your job into smaller jobs, and that smaller job will act as a method, and that method will call into at a one position. It will makes you clear. Just for your whatever we are doing, just for your practices, just don't make any of the method larger than 50 lines. Just follow that. Means don't make any of the method larger than 50 lines. If that method is going to be larger than 50 lines, just separate that method into some different method. Just break out. Might be your logic is getting more complex. So just put it in mind that whenever I'm writing a code and I'm designing any method, just make that method up to 50 line. If you are getting more than 70 line or 100 line, just separate your method. Means just break down your method into two separate methods and work with that. So always try to
You mean like 50 or 15?
50.
Okay.
So whenever you are doing, just follow that any means you it's just a thing that it's not a rule to follow, but it's just a thing that don't make your methods too much larger. Means too much it should be smaller methods, so that it can be easily understandable. And because whenever we are always think that you are not writing you are not just writing a code, you are presenting your code to someone else. Yeah, so always write a code in such a way that if someone else is reading your code, he in a single instant he will know that what you are written in their code. Means what is the whole logic of your code. In a single instant he will get that point, that what is happening in the code. So not always whenever you are designing any code, just think that it should be something that who will just read your code, he will get the knowledge that what is written in the code. And how we are going to do that, we just design methods, we design what will be the numbers, what will be the variable names we are declaring. It should be quite resembling what we are going to do. Suppose since we are storing the food names, that's why I make that list name as a food name list. Okay, since we are here, since I am declaring skill sets, so that's why I write the name of a this set as a skill set. So similarly, since this map is storing the code of a book and a book name, so that's why I just write its name, book name by code. So the method name that you are saying, or a variable name that you are declaring, or anything that you are declaring, it must resemble that what it stores, what it's going to be performed. Always think about that thing. And whenever you are declaring any variables, because it's a good thing. Means always in your keeps in your mind that what you are working, it should be presentable. Means it should be looks good, it should be understandable. Means it should be presentable. Okay, so so in this way that we are designing we are designing a class, and in the class have several methods. Each methods can be a return type, cannot be a return type, and each method can be return type, cannot be return type. And if you and we can make that method as a parameterized, or we can make a method as a non-parameterized, or we can make same name of a different method can be same. Means we can be different method have the same name, but their parameters are must be different. Means their configuration have to be different. They cannot be same configuration. Okay, so that is related to the a class or a class and a method. Okay, that is pretty much related to a class and a method. Let me put this the code in your coding chat. So and then okay, let's move to our next. I'm going to create a next Apex class for my next next topic. My second class. Okay, you in this class we have learned that how the class is working. Now I'm just getting the more class to be more advanced level, and we are just start working with the classes, making the now we are going to be learn about one more data type. Means we have learned about that data types, that primitive and non-primitive data types. And one more thing, I haven't given any example to call a class, means make a method return type as a class. We will discuss that as later on. Means it will be later on in later classes. We will discuss that how a return type of a method it will be a class. Actually, it's a quite simple that no, we will discuss on that is later. Right now, it's no, it's make you confused. So I'm not making you guys to be confused. So right now, just we are discussing about two things. Either the return type will be a primitive, that is integer, or just like integer, and either be a collective. We can make that method as a where collective. Yeah, this is a collective. It can be a set of. It can be also be a map. We can put anything. So now this is the basic operations. This is the basic way how we work with the classes and functions. Now I'm going to move to the next, means our next data type called as objects, which is a very important as objects. Okay, because this is the main object, as this is a main data type on which the Selfos is working. Okay, Selfos is working in this object as object data type. First you have to know that what is S object. S objects, anything that you are seeing in the Salesforce, any object that are you seeing in the Salesforce, it's generically called as S objects. Means S objects are the standard, or we can say that out of box and custom objects definition. Okay, so S objects are the standard or a custom object definitions. Means it's whenever we are saying about S objects, actually it's a generic name that that is called for the S standard and out of box objects, and it contains all the definition of a S objects have. Means S objects means all the definition of a standard or a custom object have. Okay,
This is the maybe very easy question, but I am just confusing about out of box. Why they say out of box? It's a standard. I mean, it's a default. I mean, what is the meaning of out of box? I understand what it means right now, but why they say out of box? It's inside the box.
No, that question also arises to in my mind, because when I heard first time why why it's saying out of box, because it's not out of box. It is the standard thing. It's a default thing. Yeah, that's the same thing. I also
I
I,
think
still
whenever
I didn't get that I didn't get that why they are saying out of box. Usually it's a business term, means I haven't seen anything in the Salesforce, but it's a business term, means when you are working with the uh, clients and projects, they use the out of box. Because I thought, means I'm not sure, that I thought that uh, the when the business is designed, it's usually work with the custom objects. They are not using the standard objects. Because while working with the standard objects, at some moment it's Salesforce get paid for, means we need to pay for to the Salesforce, or it's there are some limitations over the standard objects, and in order to remove the limitation, we have to pay to the Salesforce. So that's why most of the configuration, or most of the work most of the work are designed on the custom objects. So that I thought that is the reason why they are causing apart from the custom objects are the standard object, they are talking that these are the out of box objects, because they are used not using. Might be that's the reason.
Thank you.
Okay, that's because what I presume, that means I presume that might be this is the reason, because we usually uh, we are not using the standard thing, we are designing the custom things in the Salesforce. All the thing custom, we are using the custom objects, we are using the everything is the custom. When we are working with the big projects, or if we are installing any package, means everything is custom, there is nothing is a standard. They
Okay.
is using the custom object, they're defining the custom methods, everything is the custom. So that's why I thought they're saying that out of box as a standard.
Thank you.
whenever you buy something, whenever you open the first box, maybe like kind of first non-touch version or something like that.
First might be. Okay, let's go through the S objects. First, let me show you. You have to. Okay, yeah, S objects. So it's a generic word which is used for all the standard and custom objects. Let's start with how the S objects is working. So before that, let's create. Are we going to create a method? One more thing. I forgot to define one more thing. Decide one more thing. We also have one more type of a method called static methods. Okay, static methods, and means we have two kinds of methods. There are two types of methods: static method and non-static methods. We have two types of methods: static and non-static methods. Okay, we have a two types. I just realized that I haven't discussed about that. Okay, we have two types of methods called static method and non-static methods. So static methods are those methods whose it's actually it's a memory allocation. It's a kind of a memory allocation, not static methods. And means in a short form, we can say that it's a memory allocation. Static methods, when we declare any method or a variable as a static, so what it will do, its memory get first allocated. Its memory is just as soon as you call the class, its memory get allocated to that. Its memory get allocated. But non-static methods, that's memory only allocated when we only allocated via objects instance of that class. whenever we are designing any object here, whenever we're declaring any object, we are defining an instance of a class. So non-static methods are get allocation via when we defining an instance of a class. Means whenever we defining an new instance of a class, at that time they will get allocation of the memory. But for the static methods, whenever we just write the class name, means it will get, as soon as we declare the class name, and it gets allocated, its memory get allocated. So due to this allocation of the memory, their calling methods, their calling way, it get changed. So, okay, due to the allocation of its memory, then the way we are calling a static and a non-static method got changed. So let's have a look at that. Suppose, means we have these all methods we are just declared. These are called non-static methods. These are a non-static method. Why? Because for calling this method, we need to declare instance of the class. We need to declare a new instance of a class. Thereafter, we just, on the basis of a instance name, or we can say that object name, we are calling that method name. So that's why they are called as non-static methods. These all are called as non-static methods, and their memory allocation took place when we define an instance of a class. And when we declare an instance, at that moment they will get the memory allocation, and we call the method. But suppose we declare a method as a static method. For declaring a static method, we just write a static keyword. Okay, we just write a static keyword, and all the things are remain same. Suppose all the things are remain same. Suppose let's string. Get sample static methods. I usually okay, example method. Let's, since it is its return type, means public static is a keyword, return type and method name. So return type is a string. So let me return something. I'm returning that I am static. Okay, I save it. It's got saved. Now what I need to call it's since it is a static method, its memory allocation takes place whenever we write the name of a class. So we don't need to declare the instance of a class to calling this static method. We just go up here and we write the class name dot method name directly. We call directly from here, and once I will call, suppose I did this execute. Where is that? Sorry, I did not put any debug. That's why. Let's put the debug. Debug. And I'm directly putting that in the debug statement, not declaring any variable. I'm just putting directly into my debug statement. Okay, you can do in the same way, in this way also. We just you can directly call that thing in a debug statement, and let's execute. Okay, you can see that it's called from that method, by that method, and it's pretty much, means you can see that we can just call static method and non-static method, and there is a difference on this way. There is a difference that static method and non-static method. And one more thing, we can't call static method from a static method from a non-static method, or vice versa. Means we just like here you can see that we can call that this method inside any, means this method is callable from This method means both are not, we can call the non-static method to a non-static method, but we cannot call a static method to a non-static method or non-static method to a static method. Similar type is can be callable, means inside the similar type, just like here this method can call this method remove element, and this remove element can also call this food get food name. It's no issue. It is callable because both are all of both which all of the methods are same type, that is non-static, so they can call itself. But if we have if I need to call this method inside this method, it will never let me to call.
Suraj, I remember
Ulta.
something like in Java. So for such methods, you don't need to create an object. I guess it was like that, right?
Yeah, that's why you can see I just directly calling. Oh, sorry, my first class. Where's my skill set? Yeah, I can see that I'm directly calling it from class name. I'm not creating any object.
Okay.
I forget. Vice versa. Vice versa is true. What? I remember that it's not true. It's called. Okay. Vice versa is true. We can't call this this one here. Sorry. Yeah, you can see it's throwing me an error. A non-static method cannot be called in a static context. Reverse is true, means this method can call a static method. It's okay, but static method cannot call a non-static method. Only because of that, its memory allocation comes first before the non-static methods. So that's why. So since its memory can be it's allocated, so it is callable inside a non-static method. But in case of reverse, means suppose we are calling it from a okay, suppose it is called, if it is called from a static method, it means that its memory get allocated, but this remove element will not be still not allocated, because it will only allocate when the class instance will be called. So that's why it's at that moment we are declaring the we are calling any non-static method inside a static method, so it is not possible. So non-static method can call static method cannot call non-static methods. Okay, so that's the thing, that whenever we cannot call a non-static method inside a static method. So that's the point also thing is that and we can also declare static method as a parameterized method, as you can see. String print me. Okay, you can also, I'm doing the same thing. It's this property, you know what is called, this property is known as polymorphism. It's a Java concept, and this is a concept. Yeah, no, it's polymorphism. Overriding is a different thing. It's a polymorphism, and same function name has a different
Overloading, right?
polymorphism.
Polymorphism under polymorphism, but it is called overriding.
Method overriding. Yeah. Correct.
Overloading is body changing.
Okay, so that is the thing. Okay, so we can use, let's check it how it's working. I'm just coming up here, and then I will, in this, I will pass a string test, and let me run only these 2 lines. It's good highlighted. Yeah, you
Which
can
one
say
is
that it's a,
overriding? Sorry. Okay, go ahead. You can finish later. I have a question.
I think it's not, it's a polymorph. Method overloading and method overriding is a different concept.
Yeah, because in the same class it cannot be overriding. It has to be.
It should be overridden in some other class.
It's not
Yes.
overloading.
Must be overloading. Right?
It's overloading. You have
No, actually it's a concept of a polymorphism. Nothing else. Method overriding and method overloading is a different thing. It's totally different thing. We are overriding any method. Means overriding means we are changing its property. We are not changing its property of any method. We are just using the same method name at different use. So it's a kind of a polymorphism. Where I am? Okay, so I'm just passing the parameters, and it's using the same thing. And let's you guys polymorphism. Yeah, you can say the same method have a different name. Means what is that? Actually, you cannot get any exact topic related to that because it's something like a Java concept. So instead of searching if you search in a Java, that you will get a proper definition. You can see that, where is that polymorphism? Animal sound. It's not an example. Java polymorphism, inheritance.
Actually, we learn overloading and overriding as part of polymorphism. One of them is runtime, other time is compile time.
Get it, load. Yeah, I can see what's correct. But they're talking about in different class, polymorphism in same class. What we are doing, yeah, this is the thing that see declare the brew coffee, and what does it call? Different type of a static polymorphism. Method overloading. It's a method overloading. Yeah, it's a method overloading, not overriding. It's overloading.
Overriding is between parent and child. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a between parent and child. Yeah, because a method is first declared and then we override that method with the some mole. But overloading means we can say that. Yeah, I got confused. Sorry. Okay, it's a kind of a method overloading or a concept of a polymorphism. So that's the thing.
Important part is know how to use, not to know.
That's the important thing. How to use.
Write the definition.
That's the theoretical things. Okay, so that's the thing we're missing. Okay, we will discuss about that as objects later on, because that's also the thing how we declare static methods. It's an important thing because usually we declare static methods in our classes, and then we just use because static method is just it's easily callable, and we just like that, whenever we declare this, define such kind of method, means whenever we have to declare something like that, hey, it's just initializing some variables. Yeah, you look at some giving some initialization, or we can say it's adding some values or returning as a thing that is that has to be first available before performing any activity. So that's why instead of declaring as a this, we are using static. So it's whenever we don't need to we don't need to worry that it's initialized or it first called or no. It's called, means whenever it's memory get allocated, we get that values. Okay, so whenever we have to do such kind of thing that we are initializing something, or where we are putting some values that on which we need to perform some operation. So whenever we have to doing such kind of thing, just put in static methods, so its memory get allocated, but need not to worry, we just start using that thing. And it's not a, means it's just a way of doing thing. If you don't do that, it will not giving an error, but it's a thing that we can use the property of a static methods, so that if you declare, you have, it can be first two things, that it can be easily callable. We don't need to declare a instance of a class. It's called from any place, means it just we just write a class name and then method name, and we get all the values related to that static methods. Okay, so that is all about that class and its methods, parameters, static and non-static methods, how it can be called, how it can inside the class, and we can call it outside the class. What is the role of a private and a public? Such like private methods cannot be called from outside the class, it can be called inside the class. I cannot demonstrate you how to use the global methods, because global method, it's about the another level, it's about the package level. So when we are designing the package, then at that time we think about that how we use the global methods. But the concept is that whenever we have to such kind of thing, whenever you have to access something outside the package, then at that time you declare a class as a global, because we can't declare a method as a global unless and until class is a global. So we need to declare first class as a global class, then we can declare a method as a global method, or a variable as a global variable. So that's the thing, we can do that. And one more thing, suppose we need to declare a variable that is accessible by all of that methods. So for that, we can do what we can do, that we just, instead of declaring here, we just declare after, yeah, the person who belongs to Java or someone else, they know that how we are doing this. Okay, we just declare this up here, outside that constructor, or outside that any method. Outside the any method, we just declare as it here. We declare the variable, but values must be added up here inside a method. It cannot be added up here. We can declare the variable name, so it can be accessible throughout any of the method available. Means we can access this variable throughout any of the method available. Okay, that's the thing that we will discuss. No issue.
Static also.
Hmm?
Variable also can be static.
Variable can also be a static.
Okay. And we can initialize the values outside
Yeah.
of the method, so we don't.
Okay, then we will discuss more thing about the class and as objects in later on classes. Okay, just try to have a look at all those things, how we are calling. And I think you got that how we are calling, because if you conclude that there is not so many steps, but you have to remember that thing, how it's working. Means that's the thing, you always have to remember that how the code is working, how we calling a method, how we declaring a method. These are things you should have to remember. Okay, so, or whenever you start writing, just if you're not able to remember, then just remember the concept, that how we are doing. Okay, then any questions?
It looks good. It's getting.
Okay,
Thank you.
Next.
okay, bye for now. Bye.
Thank you.